Yes, we are live now. Please confirm if I am audible to you. Please confirm if I am visible to you. Yes, good morning everyone. Welcome to this live session of Cost and Management Audit. Yes, good morning everyone. And welcome to this live session. Please confirm if I am audible to you. Please confirm if I am visible to you so that we can start today's session of Cost and Management Audit. And I hope you are practicing and revising all the chapters on your own after the class is over. Please don't leave revision for the fag end because it's already the fag end, okay? Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Please confirm. Yes, sir, you are both audible and visible. Very good. Perfect. So let's start today's session, and today's session we are going to deal with one of the most important theory chapters of your syllabus, guys, okay? So cost audit, yes, will have 60 to 70% of theory in your examination, 30 to 40% will be practical, and theory is very, very important from an exam standpoint because you'll be having majorly theory in your examination. It will be a mixed lot, but theory will be a substantial portion of your examination. Now, so which chapters will theory come from? And that is what we are going to start from today. From today, we are going to start all the important theoretical chapters of your syllabus. The chapters which I feel that are important from a theory standpoint, we are going to start from today itself. And first of the chapter in this particular league is Basics of Management Audit. 3 chapters I would always pin my my hopes on is Basics of Management Audit in different functions, and internal controls, internal audit. These are 3 chapters from where I feel that approximately 20 marks of theoretical portion will come in your examination for sure. These 3 chapters hold a weightage of 20 marks in your examination from a theory standpoint. So these 3 chapters are very, very important, very, very critical from an exam standpoint. And of course, you have to remember these content of these chapters, therefore you have to revise them again and again and again. Multiple revisions are required, multi-layer of revision series is required for you to conquer these chapters. So please do these chapters well, and along with the chapters I would definitely recommend you to prepare charts for these chapters so that easily you can revise during the during your examination. You can easily revise them also. So please prepare such charts. Such charts will help you to really quickly recapitulate the entire chapter very, very quickly in a short span of time, and you'll be able to revise these chapters well using the charts that we are going to discuss in the class. Okay, so please make these charts on your own in your register. That's a very important stuff, so that for your examinations you are ready with these charts. So these charts should be there in your register. We have such charts for companies cost accounting record rules also. So please make those charts by your own hand in the register. That will be the best. All right, let's start today's chapter, Basics of Management Audit. Basics of Management Audit. And let me give you a brief background about what is management audit. Okay, so guys, there are 2 types of audits which are prevalent in market. Number 1 are statutory audit, which are required to be conducted as per the statute, as per the Companies Act, or as per the Income Tax Act, or as per the GST Act. Those audits are required to be done. Those are known as statutory audits. If you don't do those audits, then you are bound to get penal consequences. You're bound to get penalties. You're bound to get some adverse effects in your business for sure. So it's really important to get all those statutory audits in place. You have to mandatorily get those statutory audits done from a qualified professional, and only then can you really work in your business. There's another category of audits which are non-statutory audits, which means that these audits are not prescribed by any law. It's management's call whether they want such audit or not. These are for your own benefit. For companies' benefit, these audits are there. It's not mandatorily to be performed by anyone. It is not mandatorily to be done by the management also. So if management feels that yes, we want to get this audit done, they can get the audit done. That's the flavor of these audits. And one of such audits is management audit. Now let me tell you a brief background of what is a management audit, okay? So guys, a business works well only when the decisions which are taken in the business are working well. Management takes decisions. Management takes decisions on a daily basis. And if those decisions work well, then the entire ecosystem of a business will work well, entire ecosystem of an organization will work well. But if management doesn't take prudent decisions, if management doesn't take right decisions at the right point in time, then there is a problem that the entire ecosystem, entire environment of the organization is going to come to a standstill. Company will incur losses. Company will incur huge losses. So it's really important from a shareholder standpoint, from a stakeholder standpoint, to understand whether management is taking right decisions or not. So I can imagine that, out of 10 decisions, 6 decisions or 7 decisions are right, 3 are wrong. I can take this scenario because not every decision can be correct, okay? But what if a management is giving a correct decision percentage of 30%? 30% of the decisions are right, 70% of the decisions are wrong. So out of 10, 2 or 3 decisions are right, rest are wrong. At that point in time, there's a dire need for management audit. We should understand and we should be able to cull out or know why is management not taking the right decisions. What is the fault in management's working? What is the fault in management's behavior? What is the fault in management's entire attitude? Or are they lacking in skill? Are they not qualified to be the management of a company? Are they not qualified to be board of directors? Are they not qualified to be the finance director of the company? So these questions will arise in the minds of the stakeholders or the shareholders if decision making is not correct. So to ensure that decision making goes correct and to ensure that at the right time stakeholders are cautioned of any red flags in the management, this management audit is done. So this management audit focuses on the management of an organization, how management of an organization is working, how the senior level management is working. That is the aim of this particular audit. Just like financial audit is focused towards financial statements of a particular organization. Cost audit is focused towards the cost statements of a particular organization, whether cost statements are correctly drafted or not. Tax audit is related to compliance with respect to tax or income tax act, compliance with respect to GST. Similarly, management audit is targeted towards the decision making capability of the management of a particular company. So decision making capability of management of a company should be up to the mark, should be absolutely perfect. Only then will a management prosper. Only then will the company prosper. So usually the management themselves or on the pressure of the stakeholders, management gets this management audit done. No statutory requirement, no timelines, no format of audit report, nothing is available in any law. These are not prescribed by law. These are voluntarily audit. These are conducted by is conducted on the instructions of the management or the shareholders voluntarily. No law is asking you to get your management audit done, but you are doing management audit because you want to get it done, because you want to review the performance of your management of the company. And that is the crux of management audit. So first of all, let's see what is management audit. Management audit is the process of appraising the performance of the directors and managers. What do you mean by appraising? Appraising means evaluating. Appraising means evaluating. So in this particular audit, we are evaluating or we are analyzing the performance of the directors. We are analyzing the performance of the directors. In this particular audit, we are analyzing the performance of the directors. What are the decisions which are taken by the directors, whether they are correct, whether they are not correct. This is the aim of this particular audit. Then, or in other words, appraising the performance of the management of an organization. Management audit is examination of effectiveness of management in controlling the total activities of organization in the accomplishment of organizational objective. The idea is that our objectives should be met. So for meeting our objectives, whether the decision making done by the top management is correct or not, whether decision making done by the management is correct or not, that is the entire objective, that is the entire role of management audit in any organization. So that is the definition of management audit. Now, what are the objectives or uses of management audit? How can management audit be useful to an organization? It helps management in setting appropriate decision making. First and foremost is, of course, that management knows, or management we tell the management that your decision making is correct or incorrect. What is the approach towards management decision making that we highlight in these audits? So it helps management in setting appropriate decision making. It ensures that management is getting adequate information for correct decisions. So sometimes management is not at a fault. The decision making requires relevant data. Data is not being fed to the management correctly. Sometimes that is at fault. Management is taking the right decision, but the data which is being fed or which is being given to the management, that is incorrect. That is also covered as a part of management audit. It suggests management is getting desired results and revealing any defects or irregularities in the process of management. So any kind of difficulties or defects that are there in the management process, that is highlighted. Management audit helps management in effective discharge of their duties. So duties of management is effectively discharged. If management is aware that yes, we'll also get audited someday, they will be cautious in their duties. They will be cautious in their day-to-day working. Otherwise, they will rest free. Otherwise, they'll do whatever they want. So for the management to control their decision making, to control their effectiveness, and to ensure that their duties are effectively discharged, we conduct management audit. It helps in identification of process gaps. Wherever there are gaps in the processes, wherever we feel that processes are lacking, wherever we feel that processes are not up to the mark, we highlight that by way of management audit. Suggest appropriate cost-effective implementation of plans. How to implement plan in a perfect way. This is also suggested in management audit. If plans are not getting executed properly, plans are being made but they are not getting executed properly. That's also highlighted in the management audit report. Suggest appropriate cost-effective implementation. It substantially contributes for improvement of the entire communication system. We have been studying this since our 11th standard. If you are a commerce student, then in commerce, 11th standard business studies, we have understood the importance of communication, correct communication in an organization. So if communication is not effective, if communication is not up to the mark, then also, management goes for a toss, management goes for a standstill. So we ensure that using management audit that communication is also up to the mark. It assists in analyzing SWOT analysis. So whatever is our strength, weakness, opportunities, threats, that also is identified in the management audit. And we tell the management that guys, this is your weakness, this is your strength, and you can work upon your weaknesses and you can play upon your strength. As a management auditor, we can suggest this through the management of the company. Now, what are the qualities of a management auditor? Okay. Now, guys, for this particular thing, we have actually prepared a chart also. So all the important headings have been converted into a chart format so that you can easily refer to it before your examination so that you can revise it well. So what are the qualities of a good management auditor? Okay, management auditor requires what kind of qualities, what kind of qualifications are required from a management auditor? First of all, let me tell you, there is no specific qualification which is required from a management auditor. Like for conducting cost audit, you must be a CMA, cost and management accounting, for conducting cost audit. You should be qualified CMA. You should also approach the institute and get your membership number. You should also have a certificate of practice. All these formalities are required to be undertaken if you want to do cost audit of a particular organization. Similarly, if you want to do stat audit, financial audit, you have to be a chartered accountant. You need to take certificate of practice from Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. You need to be a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. These are the formalities which are required to conduct statutory audit. Similarly, secretarial audit. You need to be a company secretary. You should have qualified company secretary examination. You should have qualified all the formalities which are required for membership, take membership, and then take certificate of practice from Institute of Company Secretaries of India, and then you can actually perform company secretarial audit. So in the same way, management audit doesn't require any certification. Management audit doesn't require any certificate or any certificate of practice or any specific qualification. You have to pass any examination. That is not required as a management auditor. Even a graduate can be a management auditor. Even an engineer can be a management auditor. And yes, cost accountant, chartered accountant, company secretary can definitely be the management auditors, right? But an architect and engineer can also be a management auditor if they have, gone through the process and gone through and they have experience of the relevant management of a particular company, managing a particular company. They can be a management auditor. So management auditor doesn't need any specific qualification or certification to be a management auditor. That is the first and foremost thing. But yes, there are some expertise and some knowledge which is required to be a management auditor. Otherwise, you won't be able to justify your stint as a management auditor. What are those qualities? Number one, you should have knowledge and experience in managerial functions. Guys, only a person who has practically done an operation can teach you how to operate. A person who has practically constructed a building, he can teach you how to develop a building. A person who has personally done cost audit work or cost sheet preparation for a particular company, he can teach you how to prepare a cost sheet. Similarly, a management auditor need to be experienced in managerial functions. What are the managerial functions? Managerial functions mean planning, controlling, directing, supervising. All these are management functions. So a person who has been in the managerial position and who knows what are the positives and negatives of a managerial position. How hard is it to become a managing director of a particular company? How hard it is to become a CFO of the company? If a person knows about these facts, only then that person can be an effective management auditor. So first and foremost is you should have knowledge and experience in managerial functions. Number two, you should have the experience and knowledge in financials, cost statements, analysis technique. Because guys, ultimately the decisions which are taken by the management, they are reflected in the financial statements. If the company is making profits and it's growing by the year, only then we can say that management is effective. Otherwise, we will say that management is not effective. So the management's decision making is reflected in financial statements, cost statements. So how to analyze these financial statements and cost statements, this should very much be understood by the management auditor. Then understanding of the organization structure, this is first and foremost thing. Even before starting the management audit, a management auditor must understand what is the organization structure, which means how many companies, group companies are there in this particular group, and each company, how are they segregated. There's a production department, there's a sales department, there's a marketing department. Production department has further sub-departments. Sales department has further sub-departments. So this organization structure should be very, very clear in the mind of the management auditor to really analyze the decision-making capability. Then second thing is decision taken by the management. What all decisions are taken by the management, and at what point in time. All processes and control aspects. What are the processes which are employed by the company, and what are the control aspects? What control has been, granted on those processes? Objectives of organization. What are the objectives of organization? What objectives does an organization pursue? Key objectives. He or she should have quality of giving practical and achievable solutions to the problems. You should be in a position to provide solutions, and that to practical solutions which are implementable, not hypothetical. And only a person who has been there, done that, who has been to managerial position in a particular company can give you solutions, practical solutions to problems which are related to management. So it's really essential that you should have knowledge and experience of managerial function. Ability to grasp the business problems, you should have understanding of business problems. Tactfulness, okay, perseverance, which means don't quit attitude. Tactfulness means you should be able to think smart. Pleasing and dynamic personality is required by a management auditor. Knowledge and experience in preparing various reports for submission to different levels of management. Now, report writing is also an important aspect that a management auditor needs to understand. Okay. Now, if a management auditor prepare a report which is a 100-pager report, no one is going to read it. Management doesn't have time to read such a big report. So the management audit report should be carefully prepared because it is to be read by the top management, and top management doesn't have time to read lengthy reports. So summaries and charts, pie charts, time charts, line charts, all these things are to be used to summarize the entire content of the report, and key highlights of the report should be just presented to the management of the company. So it's really important to to prepare the report well, which is to be presented to the company. Now, I've already responded to this question. Who is qualified to be a cost and management auditor? Who can conduct management audit of a particular company? Guys, no specific requirements of qualification there in the Act. This is not a statutory, statutory provision. This is not a statutory audit. So no specific technical requirements, no specific education related requirement that he has to be a chartered accountant, he has to be a engineer. No such requirement. Even a cost accountant can be a management auditor. And in fact, cost accountant can be the best management auditor. Why? Because cost accountant has the knowledge of cost of a particular company and management, and the entire profitability and the entire working of a company depends on cost. So cost is something which is really critical. Cost is something which is really key to any management auditor. So cost accountant can be the most effective management auditors out of all the professionals who are available in market. Yes, cost accountants can be the best management auditors. So cost accountant, by virtue of his closure and intimate association with industrial environment. So cost accountant is very close to industrial environment. Cost accountant is actually a part of every factory. Every manufacturing company, every trading company has a cost accountant linked to it. Either it's an employee or any external consultant. Cost accountant is actually the root of every company who's doing manufacturing in any kind of business. So, and this is the case that cost accountant is deeply rooted in each and every aspect of a particular company. Cost accountant would be in a better position to undertake successfully the management audit. And obviously, since we are cost accountants, we will propound this theory that cost accountants are the best to conduct management audit. If the same topic you would read in chartered accountancy course, maybe they will propound that, oh, chartered accountants are the best to conduct management audit. So this will happen in every sphere of profession, that they will think that they are best in conducting management audit. But guys, in our examination, if a question is asked that who is best to conduct management audit, we will say cost accountants are the best in conducting management audit because of their proximity with the industrial environment. This is a fact, guys. This is an answer. Moreover, he is closely associated with the entire supply chain management. So cost auditor is in the best position to conduct management audit of a particular company. This is at least the theory which we will propound for sure. Okay. Now the question is that, can company's own cost accountant conduct cost audit? Yes, he can conduct cost audit. Company's own cost accountant can conduct cost management audit for sure. There's no restriction because independence threat is not there in this case, because it is not a statutory requirement to conduct management audit. So even company's own cost accountant can conduct management audit of that particular company. But tell me something. Will a cost accountant who's working in the same company can say anything against the management of that particular company? Won't management be against that particular cost accountant then? Won't that cost accountant fear that, oh, if I say anything against any of my bosses who are the management, then they will throw me out of the company? Won't that cost accountant has that kind of feeling? Answer is yes. So the company's cost accountant, ideally can do management audit, but he will not act independently. He will not act independently. He will not be unbiased. He will not be uninfluenced. Somewhere he'll be influenced by the position and the threat which the top management will give him. So somewhere he'll be under a threat. Somewhere he'll be a little biased. He won't say negative about its management in a very true manner, in a very fair manner. So yes, somewhere he will not be independent. So external auditor might be independent, a little bit independent in this respect, okay? But the internal auditor the internal cost accountant will have an advantage that internal cost accountant has worked with the company and has better grasp over company's activities. So who has got better knowledge about that particular company? The internal cost accountant. So, there's a pro and there's a con also. The advantage is that the internal cost accountant is very good in analyzing the company because he has worked in the company for a very long time. So it's an advantage with the cost accountant who's working inside the company. But the disadvantage is that he'll not be independent. He might be influenced. He might be biased in his reporting. So both pros and cons are there of internal cost accounting being the management auditor. Both pros and cons is there. So ultimately it is the management, the company who has to decide. The company has to make its own decision that, if you want to have your own accountant, cost accountant as the management auditor, how can you safeguard his interest? How can you safeguard that he'll not be disreputed or he'll not be harmed at a later point in time? How will you safeguard this? It's management's call, it's company's call. So company has to take this decision because this is not a statutory law. It is not prescribed by any law. So company has to take this decision. Further, instead of entrusting it entirely to the cost accountant, there's also a good idea that, let us develop a team of multidisciplinary professionals along with cost accountants and make a combined team to conduct management audit. That will be the best. That will be the best. So that team should contain obviously a cost accountant, but apart from that, an industry or production engineer should also be there. Social scientist should be there. Economist should be there, and then a cost accountant should be there. So let us create a multidisciplinary team to conduct cost audit. That will be to conduct management audit. That will be the best. People from all realms of life should come together and they should conduct management audit. That will be the best management audit. Okay, so the team or the management audit team should be multidisciplinary and multidimensional. The management audit team should be multidisciplinary and multidimensional. So you can write over here, team of management audit. Team of management auditor. So who shall be a team of management auditor? That team should contain multidisciplinary people. Then the functions of management auditor are as follows. What are the requirements? What are the things that management auditor should do? And you are already aware about that. He should appraise the decisions of the managers. He should undertake a wholesome analysis of what are the activities of a particular company, what are the activities of a particular organization, how are they working, how are they not working. So a wholesome analysis should be carried on by the management auditor to perform while dealing with the top management. Help management in defining the performance standards with ownership of responsibilities. Management audit provides valuable suggestions to management after proper evaluation. So first of all, you have to perform while dealing with the top management. So management auditor has to consistently deal with the top management, and his work is to perform while dealing with the top management. Okay. Then he helps management in defining performance standards. So what will be the performance standards? Up to what level should management perform? What decisions should result into what kind of outputs are required? They should be defined by the management auditor for management. Okay. Help management in defining performance standards. Then management audit provides suggestions for management after proper evaluation. So what should management do to increase its efficiency, to increase its decision making? That is again a purpose of management audit. Assessing existing management policies. The existing management policy we need to assess, whichever needs some kind of a revision or some kind of change, that should be suggested by the management auditor. Proper rational utilization of resources should be there. Assessing efficiency and efficacy of tactics, strategies behind current business plans. So what are the efficient moves, what are the tactics, what are the strategies, whether they are working fine or not, all this analysis needs to be done by the management auditor. And finally, appraising overall team performance rather than individual. So management auditor is concerned with performance of the entire management, performance of the entire board of directors, and not only with one board of director. Performance of the entire board of directors should be the focus of the management auditor, and not only one board of director. So the idea is to appraise the entire management. Team performance should be appraised by the management auditor. All right. So what are the techniques which a management auditor can use? Some scientific techniques, some non-scientific techniques, and many techniques that you already have. You are already privy to in your cost management paper. So in intermediate you had management accounting paper, right? And that management accounting is nothing but the pre-step of management audit. To conduct management audit, we perform management accounting. We need to understand how management is working in their decision making, whether they are taking the make versus buy decision correctly or not, whether they are taking the decision of whether to continue this product line or not in proper way. We should conduct management audit and use all the management accounting technique which you have studied in your group 2, intermediate group 2. So what are the techniques of management audit? Techniques employed by management auditor in effectively carrying out audit are. So first kind of techniques is accounting techniques or economic techniques, and you already are a little bit aware about these techniques. Guys, techniques like break-even analysis. What do you mean by a break-even point? Break-even point means a point of sales where the income is equal to expenses, the revenues are equal to expenses, both of them equate together. This is the production stage, the stage at which the revenue equals your expenses. So no profit, no loss. That is one of the major analysis. Budgetary control, how to create budgets and how to use those budgets for betterment of the organization, and how to ensure that budgets are also being fulfilled. So it's not just it's not just about creating budgets, they should also be followed. And if they are not followed, then what is the reason why the budgets were not followed? That should also be analyzed. So budgetary control is another technique of accounting, of management audit. The next technique is cost management techniques, indicating how an organization assets should be allocated over competing projects. Again, some things like make versus buy decision, or some decisions like how to plan your production process, how the production process should be devoid of wastage, how wastage can be minimized, how the inefficiencies can be reduced. All these techniques which you have already studied in your cost accounting also, they can be used to appraise the performance of the management. Then discounted cash flow techniques, the present value methods, the methods that will tell you what is the NPV, net present value, of a particular project. IRR, internal rate of return, payback period, all these are techniques which can help management to take adequate decisions. So all these techniques may be used by the management auditor to ensure that management is taking the right decisions, and whether management has used these techniques to take the right decision or not. Cost benefit analysis, standard costing, marginal costing, activity based costing, quality analysis of a company's transaction. So all these you have already somewhere or the other studied in your curriculum. These are all used while appraising the management decision making. Then there are some scientific techniques. Okay, there's some computer modeling which happens surrounding decision of material mix, product mix, make versus buy decision. So do you remember those lengthy questions which you used to do in your costing for make versus buy decisions? Now there are models, computer models. You just feed in the data and they will decide for you. The models will decide for you. You need not make those complex calculations. The models will will altogether be in front of you with the multiple options and the results of those multiple options. So things are quite easier with technology being used in every sphere of life. Things are very easy, and so is this particular thing easy, that you can now take decisions on the basis of computer models. Make versus buy decision, product mix, material mix, all these decisions can be taken by you in a scientific way. Network analysis, to analyze strings of tasks, to arrange them in sequential or parallel order to complete the project in shortest possible time. So what is the process? What is the a sequence of things that can arrange our process in the shortest possible time? Mathematical programming, solving by linear programming is usually effective when relationship vary in linear order, whereas quadratic programming may be used when the variations are in order of square root or some other factors. Guys, I don't understand what is the mathematical programming, but since it's given in your syllabus, you just have to learn it this way only. Okay, don't get into nitty-gritties of this. That's what is square rooting, what is this written. You just learn the word mathematical programming. Mathematical program is a scientific way of analyzing any decision making process. Okay, linear programming, of course, we have already studied in our organizational research OR paper, which was there in intermediate. Then there are some statistical technique also. Statistical technique will work out the efficiency of a particular product or project or decision in a scientific way, in a statistical way. Okay, we'll compute the variances, we'll compute the standard deviation, and all these will help us to know what is the success rate of any organization, of any management. So success rate can be also be analyzed by the statistical technique. Activity sampling is one of the important techniques of management analysis. It is one of the many ways which the present workloads can be measured to obtain controls to be exercised by the management. Monte Carlo stimulation, okay, then exponential smoothing, inter-firm comparisons, all these are ways of statistical techniques. Personal techniques, we use some some surveys, some tests on our people to know that whether they are capable of making right decision or not. So all the board of directors are subject to these surveys or these questionnaires or these tests. These are also known as psychometric test. And you as a cost accountant, after you qualify, some companies in the campus also take this test, psychometric test. It's not related to your technical knowledge. It's not related to your knowledge of your direct tax, indirect tax, cost accounting, etc. No, it's related to your knowledge of your basic logical reasoning power, whether you are having basic logical reasoning power or not, whether you have basic basic IQ or not. Your basic intelligence level. What is your basic intelligence level? That is the objective of this kind of an analysis. So, personal techniques like aptitude test, attitude test, ergonomics, man-machine relationship, training methods, profitability and productivity measurement. This again are techniques of management audit. Then there are general techniques. Statistical theory of management is an attempt to emphasize what should be the practical approach to problem. Statistical theory is there. Brainstorming is there. Transfer pricing is there. Management by objectives, management by exception, corporate planning, information theory, etc., etc., etc. So guys, simple as it is, this is not an exhaustive list. You can use any and every technique that you have ever studied in your studies to conduct management audit, wherever you think that this will be relevant for us. Like I've told you, IRR, payback period, NPV analysis, these are very basic techniques which can actually evaluate whether this project is profitable or not, whether this is going to give you results or not. So simple techniques, complicated techniques, everything can be used over here. In the examination, if you don't remember these techniques, then you can write whatever techniques you remember of, okay? Whatever you have studied in your intermediate and final, you can use all those techniques to do management audit. There's no threshold, there's no criteria, there's no statutory prescription that yes, these techniques should be used for management audit. It's absolutely a free game. Yes, very, very important. It's a very old saying that if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. If you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. This is true for your examinations also, guys. Your examinations are round the corner, okay? And that is the reason why you are taking these classes. Your examination is closed now, and you have not planned how will you revise the entire syllabus. You have not planned how will you complete your coachings. You have not planned how will you revise the RTPs or the workbook which has been released by the Institute of Cost Accountants of India. You have not planned anything of that, and that's a problem. Planning is the core of any exam that you give. Discipline by far is the core of any exam that you give. You have to be disciplined. You have to plan your studies in a proper way. No one is asking you to study for 15 hours or 20 hours a day. No one. But at least study for 8 hours a day, and that too consistently. I'll tell you what, okay? What is the average, pass percentage of CMA final in every attempt? Pass percentage of people who are getting passed? Maybe say 10 to 15%, right? 10 to 15%, maybe 20%. This is the pass percentage of CMAs who are qualifying either group 3 or group 4, okay? Maybe little less also, 7%, 8%, 6%. This is the passing percentage of people who are qualifying a CMA final, right? This is what you will say. This is your answer. This is wrong. This is wrong. Yes. The pass percentage of CMAs is 60%. The pass percentage of CMAs is 60%. What are you saying, sir? This is such a funny thing that you are saying. Pass percentage of CMA is 60%. Never has the institute ever given a result of 60%. Ever, sir. The result is always varying from say 8%, 7%, 10, 12, 15, that's it. So never ever had the result be given as 60%. No. Every time in each attempt, CMA result has been 60%. 60% students have qualified CMA. Why do I say that? Because guys, I'll give a very honest opinion. I've been teaching CMAs for last 15 years and this is my experience. Out of 100 students who are giving CMA final examination, out of 100, only 50 are actually studying, or even less. Only 40 are actually studying. What do you mean by actual studying? CMA final students deserves a sitting or studying of 8 hours per day consistently for at least 6 days a week. And out of 100, at least 60 students are studying only for 2 hours a day, and that too for 2 days a week. That's it. And rest of the days they are wasting. This is my personal opinion and this is my personal experience. Most of the students who are in CMA final, they don't study enough to be able to qualify the CMA final. They are not serious for the examination, or they are not disciplined for the examination. They are not. So you hear that yes, result is 10 to 15%, but that's a sham. That's a myth. That's not correct. The result is 60%. CMA final result is 60%, because out of 100, I don't consider the students who are not even studying. So I'm only considering students who are studying. So out of 100, only 40 students are seriously studying for the examination. And serious study means, no, not 16 hours per day. Sir, we will study for 16 hours a day. No expectation of that sort. Serious study means 8 hours a day, consistently, for 6 days a week, 3 months before your examination. That is consistent study. If you imbibe discipline in your studies, if you imbibe this kind of a regularity in your studies, no one can stop you from passing or qualifying CMA. So out of 100, only 40 students are actually studying for CMA final the right way, in the disciplined way. And that is the reason why I say, if out of 40, even 10 students are qualifying, out of 40, 20 students are qualifying, then the result is 50 to 60% of CMA. Yes, and that is the true result of CMA. That is the true result percentage of CMA. Because most students, I find, are busy in social media. Most students are not ready to delete apps, Instagram. Most students are not ready to delete Facebook from their phone. They are consistently in their phone. Just have a look of the screen time that you are showcasing these days in your phone. Screen time. Just send me a screenshot of your screen time. You will realize that more than 3 to 4 hours you are spending on social media. In the settings button, in the settings tab in your phone, there is a column called health and well-being. Just click on that column and that will show you your screen time. Just open that screen time and just see where all you are spending your time at. You're not spending your time at studies, you're spending your time at social media. Your brain frequency is being divulged there. So there's no discipline. There's no discipline at all. Your notifications are all on when you are studying. So soon as someone messages you, or even if there's a forward message, some advertisement message, it just pops up in your phone brightens up and your mind is distracted and you start seeing your phone. All notifications should be off until your examination. No notification should pop up in the bright light in your phone. It should remain in your phone itself. And your phone should be in a switched off mode for 8 to 10 hours a day. And that is what I call discipline. That is what I call serious for your attempt. So if you want to be in this category, or if you want to be in this category, the qualified category, the only thing that you need to do is discipline. Be disciplined for whatever time is left. Have control on your impulses. Don't be on social media, and that's it. You'll be in this lot. But yes, coming back to our topic, we are talking about management audit program. Again, planning is required to be done in management audit, and this planning that is required to be done in management audit, this plan is known as management audit program. Because similarly, the way you if you fail to plan in your examination, you plan to fail. Similarly, in management audit also, if you fail in your planning, then you plan to fail. Management audit also requires hell lot of planning. Detailed planning is required for management audit also. So before starting management audit, you need to prepare a program which is known as management audit program, and that program should minutely tell how many people will be doing the audit, what all areas are to be done, who will do that, what area, how much time will be required, what all things will be seen, what all documents will be asked from the client, what assistance is required from the client. Everything should be jotted down before the audit starts. This is known as management audit program. It's a plan that you create for conducting management audit in near future. This is known as management audit program. So management audit program is a plan of action. So what is a management audit program? It's a plan of action drawn in advance of taking up the audit to help auditor to cover the entire area of his function thoroughly. An efficient management audit program shall comprise of the following. You should first of all review the objectives, plans, policies of the management. What does management aim at? What does management want to achieve? Do they want to achieve employee retention? Do they want to achieve high profitability? Do they want to achieve a good market share? What do they want to achieve? That's your first prerogative. You need to actually understand what does management want to achieve. So what are the objectives of the management? That is the first thing that you need to understand. Critical review of organization structure. Again, organization structure is the key to any management auditor. How are the various departments laid down? Who is heading which department? And how many people are under that particular person? Who is reporting to whom? Is there any dual reporting happening? Is there any misreporting happening? So entire organization structure needs to be very clear in the mind of the management auditor before management audit is start. Study of systems and procedures. What are the systems and procedures? Evaluation of operations. Understand what operations are being done and what level of operations are being done. So evaluation of operations. Study of efficiency of use of physical resources available. So whether the physical resources are being used efficiently or not, that is again a thing that needs to be evaluated. Exercise of proper management control, whether management control is proper or not in an organization. Maintain suitable monitoring system through management information system. So there has to be a suitable supervision, overview of who's doing what and what is the results on a monthly basis or even on a fortnightly basis, and that effectively can be done by management information system. So management information system can generate reports which can tell you that during the month so and so employees were laid off, so and so employees were chucked out of the organization, and that can give you an insight that whether management is following their policy of retention properly or not. So MIS is created to monitor. Monitor means supervise the entire scheme of what management is doing. Check on adherence to statutory obligations. Very, very important. Although management auditor is concerned with dealing with management decision making, but to adhere to statutory obligation, whether statutory obligations are being met or not. For example, whether TDS is being deposited on time or not, whether all the taxes are being deposited on time or not, whether the provisions of Factory Act is being followed or not. Factory Act is one of the very important acts, guys, right? Whether Factory Act is followed or not. Labor laws, whether labor laws are followed or not. All these small things will definitely let the management auditor take a feel or get a sense whether management is serious about law or not. Because if management is not serious about law, then the day is not far when the company is going to shut down. Because if you don't follow law of the land, then obviously your company will shut down. Your company will not be there for a very long time. So it's important that statutory obligations are also being adhered to. Above all, review the efficiency of manpower handling, which ultimately results in organization success. Manpower handling means personnel management. How are you dealing with your management, with your personnel? Personnel management. So personnel management is one of the key areas, one of the very important areas which are to be looked into by the management auditor. He has to see whether people are happy or not, because if people are happy, only then will an organization prosper. Because if people are unhappy, then they would definitely not work up to a maximum of their capabilities. Also, they will be not be fueling the growth of the organization. They'll rather diminish the fuel of growth of the organization. So again, you need to be sure that your manpower is absolutely happy. They are well managed. Obviously, you cannot keep everyone happy, but largely your manpower is happy. Largely your people are satisfied with the policies that you are doing and with whatever bonuses you are giving, whatever salaries you are giving, whatever employee welfare steps you are taking. You have to ensure that employees are more or less satisfied with every step that the management is doing. Okay, that is an important aspect of management audit. Then general outline of management audit program. So some basic things that management audit program should have, some basic knowledge about the company that management audit program should have are enlisted below. Name and address of the company, obviously. Operations, what kind of operations does it do? How many units does that have? How many sections are there? Dates and duration of audit. When is the audit started? When has the audit concluded? What is the duration of audit? How many months have the audit be conducted? When is the audit started? All these things should be laid down. Planned, revised, actual. So, duration of audit, what was planned? Planned was to say 2 months. Okay, then it was revised to 4 months. And now the audit has been conducted in 5 months. So all these things needs to be written down in the management audit report. Because someone is going to ask you, you planned 2 months. Why do you take 5 months? What was the reason? Because this will also call out any inefficiencies that the management has. You will say that, earlier it was planned for 2 months, but I did not get the data. I got data very late. My team did not get the adequate data to conduct management audit. You will say that. So whatever is your reason, why did the audit get so late? Why 3 months additional was undertaken for audit? This can be an effective question that can be answered. Names of the auditors. Who are the names of the auditors? What are the auditors? This you need to tell. Now discussed with and reviewed by. So these are relevant to working papers. Okay, these are relevant to working papers or areas which you have audited. So whatever area you have audited, like if you have audited, say, personnel, human resource, then you have to tell specifically whom did you discuss this area with. Okay, so you will say that, okay, I had to discuss this area with the HR manager. But actually, because HR manager did not have time, so I discussed this area with HR's assistant manager. You'll jot down, where did you get the inputs from? As a management auditor, where did I get the inputs from? Similarly, who reviewed the area? Okay, so who reviewed the area? Who reviewed that working paper? So, suppose I took interview of the HR manager to ascertain whether HR policies are right or not. But again, my questionnaire should be reviewed by someone else, my senior, management auditor senior. That should also be jotted down. So, who reviewed the working paper and you made the working paper, that should be clearly written in the working paper itself. Okay, sir, got it. So these are the steps of management audit. So what are the steps of management audit? What are the steps of management audit? What are the steps which any management audit shall typically comply? Although this is not arched in stone, because these steps can vary from auditor to auditor. You can have your own set of steps. So this can vary, but the typical management audit will contain these steps. So what are the steps of management audit? Steps of management audit. Number one is define the scope and objectives. So first and foremost, you need to really define what is your scope of audit. Guys, obviously, an organization has so many departments, right? From operations to processes to finance to HR to logistics to quality control. There are so many departments. There are so many processes in a particular organization. It is practically not possible to cover all of them at once. It is not possible. It is not humanly possible to cover all the aspects at once. So at the beginning of the audit, you need to determine which department are you focusing at. Are you focusing at operations? Are you focusing at finance? Are you focusing at human resource? Or you may choose to. Finance and human resource will do this time. So you have to clearly define what is your scope of audit. What all are you going to cover? Because no human being can cover all the aspects in one go. No one. It's my challenge. Even if it's a small organization, audit cannot happen of all the departments at once. It is not possible. So first of all, you define the scope and objectives of the audit. Identify the areas to be reviewed, whether you will review finance, HR, process, marketing, what are you going to review? So identify the areas to be reviewed and understand what audit aims to achieve. What are your goals and objectives? Okay. So for example, your goals and objective can be, I want to see whether financial obligations are being met on time or not by the management. Whether management is strictly adhering to the statutory obligations or not, whether TDS is being deposited by the 7th of the next month or not, whether GST is being deposited by the 20th of the next month or not. So these kind of objectives, these kind of clearly defined goals are to be ascertained by you before you start the audit. Then you start gathering information, you start gathering relevant data which will be useful for you. Whatever data is required to conduct management audit, you need to have that. So relevant documents and relevant data needs to be culled out. Discuss initial gaps and possible improvements with the management. So whatever are the improvements that management can do, whatever gaps are there, that needs to be analyzed. Then evaluate performance of a particular area in charge should be evaluated, like whether the HR manager is doing the right things or not, whether the finance director is doing the right things or not. How many miscompliances are there in TDS? So yes, in a year, if one miscompliance is there, I can still understand. But if out of a year, 6 months are delayed to TDS deposit, I cannot understand that. No, how can you delay deposit of TDS for 6 months? You cannot do that. It's a big mistake. Okay. So evaluate performance, check whether actual results match the set targets or standards. If not, analyze the reasons. For example, unrealistic targets and goals are there. Review the processes. All the processes are required to be reviewed. Examine how the organization plans, operates and controls its activities, including technological use, performance measurement, etc. Investigate and verify. Conduct detailed inquiry and gather evidence to support audit findings. You need to investigate further into any miscompliances which you see, and if any lacunas are there in the entire system of your management, then those lacunas are also required to be seen, whether those lacunas can be plugged or not. Okay, so investigate and verify all the evidences to support your audit finding. Report and recommend, report all the findings which you have. So, presenting your audit findings in a clear, actionable recommendation for improvement. So, audit report which you need to prepare, that has to be absolutely perfect. Report writing is again a very, critical thing, because you may write a report of 100 pages, but it might not be relevant for the management, because management doesn't have time, management doesn't have, the focus to review your entire report. So, how to present your report, that is also a very good skill. So now let's see what are the characteristics of a good management audit report. How to prepare a management report which is bang on, which is actually useful for the management, and management can use it for its own benefit. So what are the characteristics of a good management report? Number one, pertinence. Pertinence means it should be relevant, it should be purposive. Okay, you cannot just write anything and everything in a report. You have to write things which are relevant, things which are related to a particular purpose, things which are actually accurate. What are the objectives which are related to objectives? So the report should be pertinent, it should be useful, it should be relevant to a particular process or a particular thing. So first and foremost is that a good management audit report should be pertinent, should be relevant, should be useful. Second, it has to be comprehensive. Comprehensive means it should cover all the aspect of that particular process. So if it's finance, then it should cover all the aspects of finance, like accounting, like auditing, like statutory compliances, like income tax, like GST. Everything should be included, at least for the financing department. If it's HR, then everything should be included in HR, like recruitment, taking interviews, how you are infusing the new candidates, how you are, what is your exit procedure, how do you exit a particular employee, how do you take exit interview, how do you get resignation done, what is the, the notice period, everything. So it has to be comprehensive. It should cover all the aspects of that particular process which you have chosen. So the audit report should cover all the aspects of the chosen area. That is very, very important. Brevity, very, very important aspect, guys. The audit report should be brief, concise, to the point. It should be concise. It should be to the point. Audit report should be brief. It cannot run into 100 pages. Even if it runs into 100 pages, it should have something known as an executive summary. It's known as exec summary. Even if it's a long report, it should have an exec summary. Exec summary means within a span of 2 pages, the conclusions which are derived in the entire report are summarized. This is known as exec summary. So exec summary should be there, even if it's a long report. But ideally, report should be short. And guys, these days, the most popular way of drafting these reports is a PowerPoint presentation, PPT. This can be distributed as PDF also to all the stakeholders and all the management people, can be distributed as a PDF, and this can be presented in a very efficient manner also. So it can be in the form of PPT. So it has to be brief, it has to be concise, it has to be summarized. Timeliness, very, very important. The report should be given on time, not late, because if report is given late, then there's no point in giving the report late, because then no actionable activities can be done based on that report. So the report should be timely. The audit report should be issued in a timely manner so that suitable rectifying actions can be taken on time. Corrective actions can be taken on time. That is the idea. So report should be given on time. If you give your report late, it won't be of any use to anyone. Motivating, the report should be motivating. It should use positive words rather than negative words. I'll give an example. HR is not conducting exit interviews. This will be bad for the organization, because you will not be able to know why is employee leaving. Rather than using such a language, you can use that the HR may conduct exit interviews for all the people who are exiting the organization, so that we can know what is the reason of their leaving. Write in positive words. Even if it's a negative statement, write in a positive word. So management audit report should always be motivating. It should be written in a positive language. Auditors should use positive wordings in the audit report. For example, instead of writing that production planning was done inadequately, it may be written that production planning may be improved by taking the following steps. So never pinpoint on someone's mistake, that this mistake you are doing. Never pinpoint on someone's mistake in a management audit report. That is not the idea of management audit report, to pinpoint on someone's mistake. No, don't pinpoint on someone's mistake in a management audit report. Okay. Formatting and presentation is very, very important, of course. It should be an adequate format, size of font size should be adequate. It should be consistent. It should not be so that, in one part of the PPT you are using Times New Roman and in the other part of PPT you are using Tahoma or Arial. The font size should be consistent and font type should be consistent. The entire font that is written, the text which is written should be absolutely consistent and should be equal, so that it doesn't look weird, it doesn't look unformatted. Okay, so now what can be the contents of the management audit report? What can be the effective things which can be written in a management audit report, that these are the things on which the management auditor is reporting? What can be those important things? So what can be the contents of the management audit report? Deviations from laid down procedures, whatever are the processes, okay, there are SOPs. SOPs are statement of processes. These statements or these standards are developed to ensure that everyone follows the same process of doing a particular thing. For example, if you have to submit a invoice in the finance, everyone you should use the same form, everyone should use the same mechanism to submit a particular document in the finance department. So SOPs are developed, and if any deviation is there from the SOPs, then management auditor should report those deviations. So deviation should not be there in SOPs. Then unauthorized or fraudulent activities, if any activity has been done in an unauthorized manner. For example, check worth 50 lakh has to be mandatorily be signed by the managing director. But in one of the cases which management auditor found, the check was signed by a general manager also, and it was cleared. This is clearly unauthorized activity. Similarly, if some fraudulent activity is being conducted in the organization, those should also be highlighted by the management auditor. Performance deterioration, where performance is declining, of course, trend analysis can be done. Okay, ROE, ROA, P ratios, EBITDA analysis, all these things can be done. Over a trend, we can analyze whether the company's performance has increased during the tenure or has decreased. So that can be a part of your management audit report. Benchmarking of activity, industry norms and practices. So since you are a cost auditor, you might have done management audit of many companies which are there in that industry. You have knowledge of many companies which are there in that industry. You are experienced in conducting data analysis of many companies. So use that knowledge, use that experience to give insights to the management that, look, management, this process can be done in an effective way like this. Give your expertise in the management audit report. So benchmark your activities of the management. Industry norms you can explain in the management audit report, and practices you can also explain in the management audit report. Use your expertise and experience in giving some value addition to the management. Control lapses, wherever internal controls have not been followed. Control means, what controls are we talking about? Internal controls. Wherever internal controls are not being followed, and you are already aware about the concept of IFC, internal financial controls. Okay, so wherever controls are not followed, wherever controls have lapsed, you need to report that, because it's a serious thing. Should not be said that, oh, it's just one time that we have not followed this control, it's okay. No, it's not okay. Even one lapse in an internal control is fatal to the organization, because it will grow like anything and you won't even realize it. So control lapses should be curtailed. If someone has done something which is unauthorized, that should be curtailed immediately. Corrective measures are suggested to rectify the position and address the management concerns. You have to suggest some corrective actions, how to improve the management performance, how to improve management decision making. You have to suggest corrective actions for each of the management audit process. Comparisons are an effective way to analyze the deviations and to tell the corrective measures. So comparisons can be done. Review departmental weakness. So whatever is the weakness with respect to a particular department, whatever weaknesses we have encountered, that can be very well addressed through management audit report. Help change of management mindset. Management mindset can be changed using the management audit report. Management can be told, the corrective actions can be given to the management. Their mindset can be changed by help of the management audit report and the the entire overview which has been given in the management audit report. Finally, get solutions to the problem. The ultimate aim of management audit report is to get solutions to the problems which the organization is facing. And who better than a cost accountant can suggest effective solutions to the problems with a particular management is facing. Now, guys, audit checklist. what all can you include in your audit checklist, because audit checklist is something that will ensure that we have covered all the aspect of management. Okay, we need to make sure that our audit is complete and comprehensive and we have not left any area. Okay, so for that, audit checklist is really important. You need to prepare a checklist of what have you covered in management audit, what you haven't covered in management audit. So this is an audit checklist. A management auditor shall normally maintain an audit checklist to ensure that it has completely audited and it had also followed the quality standards. What can be the checklist? What all things needs to be covered in a management audit? It should be planning, organizing, staffing, controlling, communicating, directing, motivating, innovating. So these are the areas which an management auditor should cover in its management audit report relating to a particular area. You have to decide. Okay, so for example, in finance, in finance, how do they plan things in advance? How do they organize things? How do they manage staffing? How do they management coordinating, communicating, directing? So all these things are required to be analyzed with respect to finance. If you are doing management audit of HR, then all these things needs to be planned for HR. So we need to check all these things. In these areas, an auditor should look for any weakness which may affect the efficiency of the organization like. So what are the weaknesses in a particular process? Is it directorial weakness, which means direction is lacking? There's no direction, everyone is doing whatever they want to do. Everything is going haywire because direction is not there. Management is not there. People are directing well, but execution is a problem, management is a problem. Organization weakness is there. Financial weakness is there. Finance is not there in this particular department. System weakness is there. We don't have appropriate systems. Procedure is lacking. We don't have good procedures to be followed in that particular area. Functional weakness. The functions being performed are not appropriate. Operational weakness. We don't have operational SOPs, standard of operations, or standardized operations is not there. Framework is not there. Marketing is weak. Industrial relationship is weak, or weaknesses meeting social responsibility. We are not making the social responsibility. Security lapses are there. We don't have adequate security in our organization. So any kind of these weaknesses may be highlighted in your management audit report. Yes. Now, as a part of management audit, there are certain special reports which certain stakeholders demand from the management auditors. Like, talking about banks. Banks or creditors would want analysis of the credit worthiness of the company by the management auditor. They would request the management auditor to go in a particular company and tell about the credit worthiness of that particular company. That can be the ask by the banks. Shareholders can demand that, please let us know whether the prospectus which has been issued by the management for fresh IPO, whether that is true or not, whether funds which are obtained from IPO are utilized in the right way or not. Shareholders might want that kind of a report from the management auditor. So depending upon who is ordering the management audit, objectives can be different. So special reports, sometimes reports have to be prepared and submitted for special purpose or special persons. Some of the reports are as under, like for banks and creditors, accuracy and reliability in report and confirmation of the statements made. So management is saying that I have 50 crore worth of inventory. Now management auditor may analyze whether this is true or not. Bankers are more oriented towards security due of debt servicing, whether the company will be able to service their debt or not. Service debt means whether the company will be able to pay the interest or not, whether the company will be able to pay the EMI or not. Okay. So all statements by the auditor should be clear and positive, and they are also keen in the explanatory notes to the financial statements. So this is from the perspective of bankers, that they would require the management auditors to focus on these areas like debt servicing, whether the management will be able to service their debt or not. Shareholders, what would shareholders want? They would like to analyze the full facts of the organization's business, convey right and correct message to a layman who might not understand the technical jargons. Okay, so shareholders might expect the management auditor to evaluate the entire processes, entire organization from a standpoint of growth and future revenues. Auditor's report in the prospectus at the time of public issue is very important. Auditor's report is also included in the prospectus also, guys, right? Expert read between the lines of the auditor's report. It will ultimately reflect in the auditor. So, the experts will also scrutinize the management audit report in great detail. So they would try to, make a lot of sense out of the words which are written by the management auditor. So every word has to be used carefully by the management auditor. So this is from a shareholder's perspective. What would employee want from a management auditor? Employee would always want better understanding of the business to dispel any misconceptions, counter charges by the unions. So employee unions are there who would try to mislead the employees by giving some false impression about the management to the employees. Union are always, against management. They would always, tell rumors about the management to the employees. The employees will always be little bit disturbed by the rumors which are being spread by the union. So now employees want a fair analysis of whatever union is saying, whether it's true or not. Management is not giving bonus this year. This is a statement which is released by the union, but now employees want to understand whether this is true or not. And if yes, what is the reason why management is not declaring bonus this year? That is the perspective of employees for conducting management audit. So to dispel any misconception or counter charges by unions, the reports must gain confidence of the employees and earn respect of the statements. So employees should be confident about the report, whatever report is being given to them. The report should consider the need of the employees. Whatever employees require, the report should have that thing, whatever an employee requires. Employee doesn't require EBITDA. Employee doesn't require a statement of, a cost sheet or what is the cost of a particular organization. Employee doesn't need all these things. Employee needs what is the management thinking about them in future, how would they grow if they remain in the same company in future. That is the thinking of the employee. That is where management audit can help the employees in, determining that fact. Auditors' views will be expected to be totally unbiased. Obviously, the auditors are expected to be unbiased and they would not get influenced by either the unions or the management. Employee expect that an unbiased, uninfluenced opinion should be expressed by the auditors without relying on the statements of the union and without having influence from the management. That is the expectation of the employees from the management auditors. Then small businesses, a report to be designed in a very simple way. If you are conducting management audit of a small business like an MSME, if MSME is getting its management audit done, then your report should be very simple and it should be directed towards person or small group of person only, because people are stakeholders are less. So the report should be simple and should be concise. Then suggestions in the report must be based on proper appraisal of the problem. The suggestion should be absolutely based on the problems, whatever problems are being faced by the business and what are the solutions. So small business reports should be particularly made in a very simplistic way. A very simple report is expected by a small businessman. Okay. So yes, this was your chapter on basics of management audit. After that, we have some MCQs. We have some true and false which you have to do yourself. Guys, a small chapter, but this forms basis of your next chapter. Next chapter is management audit in different function, which is a lengthy chapter. But this forms basis of your next chapter. So unless until you cover this chapter well, your next chapter will not be prepared. So please prepare this chapter well, because we'll be starting the next chapter in the next class, which is management audit in different functions. And there we are going to analyze the concept of management audit in great detail. Okay. Okay. So yes, guys, that's all for this particular session. We'll be meeting tomorrow now. And yes, the timings of the live class will be preponed a little bit. So be vigile on the WhatsApp group. The people who have opted for recorded batch, they don't have any issue with that. But the people who are watching it live, the class timings from tomorrow will be a little bit preponed, and the preponed time, the exact time will be disclosed in the WhatsApp group where you are already a part of, and I'll be disclosing the time of tomorrow's class by day end today. Okay. So yes, that's all for this particular session, guys. We'll be meeting in a subsequent session. Till that time, all the very best and happy studying. Bye bye. See you in the next session.